Hello everyone, welcome back to another collector's discussion. Today we have some insane news that InArt Aragorn is released, and if I'm not correct, I am a bit late on this obviously, and I think as of right now, of my time recording, it's, if you wanted the rooted hair, you got no option now because it's out of the pre-order window, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think if I remember correctly, yesterday or early this morning was like the cutoff line, and I am Australian time, so I'm like a day ahead of most people, so I don't know if that's correct as of now. And yeah, we get right into it because although I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, I'm not massively invested into the franchise, but that opinion aside, this might be the best 1/6 scale figure going by these prototypes we've ever seen. And that's saying something because, you know, we have a long array of figures in 1/6, and this one has even outshined InArt's Joker, which, going by reviews that I've seen, I was going to put that one on the pedestal of the best figure of all time. This is even up to that, going by these prototypes, so it's saying that InArt is upping themselves, and they've just started. But yeah, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get into it right now. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure you like and sub. I'll pull the pictures up now, and we'll get right into it. So we've got the pictures here, and these look scarily close to Viggo's Aragorn. This looks insane. Again, I'm not a massive fan of Lord of the Rings. Not saying they're bad, it's just that I'm more of a horror and Batman guy. That's going to always primarily be the stuff that I collect. But when you get something like this is questioning if I'm making the right decision in my collecting route, and should I just piss all my other stuff off and just go solely into InArt. And that's when you know you've made a great collectible, where now I'm questioning if I want to even keep the stuff I have in my room and just go full InArt and just collect everything they send out, because it looks like they're going to nail pretty much everything they release. Not even just the head sculpt and the rooted hair. It looks like the fabrics are pretty spot on to how they hug on the body. And again, I'm not a Lord of the Ring aficionado, so it's kind of going to be weird for me to talk about this. I didn't really want to talk about this that much, because again, I'm not that expert in Lord of the Rings, but on face value, this looks like the character, this looks like Aragorn, but yeah, this looks insanely good. What I also want to know is that trench coat that he's wearing actual fabric, or is it leather? Because it doesn't look like Hot Toys pleather material, which is a much more thicker, chunkier appearance compared to whatever they've used for this. So yeah, you got a picture here of all the weapons. It looks like, again, we're getting all the die-cast parts. So the sword would probably be die-cast. The hands would be magnetic, which is actually going to help with those gauntlets and not be a hindrance to move. The magnet would be strong enough to actually fit, and all that would be nice and flush. Because I know, being a Batman collector and having Hot Toys Batman figures, well, used to, the gauntlets were always the annoying part because the peg was so small. But it looks like with InArt, you got that magnet to have that extra support where it's not going to just shoot out if you bend the arm. So that's, again, a really, really nice touch that InArt are doing. They're obviously going to go with the magnetic boot with the stand, much like their Joker and all the other figures they've released. I want to know if that looks like a fabric boot. So this little sole here has to be the magnetized part. That would be interesting too, to see how this holds up. The fabric wise, if it's not pleather material, it's obviously going to last way longer than, you know, the fake stuff. So again, that's pretty interesting, and I love that InArt are doing this as well with the magnetic stands. Much like Caustic Plastic as well. You know, as much as I don't want to say it, I think companies like InArt now and Caustic Plastic have overshadowed Hot Toys. And I'm not saying that to just be controversial. I'm saying it like objectively. These guys are doing magnetic stands, magnetic arms, magnetic head sculpt adapters, rolly eyes, professionally rooted hair. This is leagues above of what Hot Toys are doing. So it's not really a bias. And again, I don't have any bias to this character. But I will say this is probably the best 1/6 scale figure I've ever seen. And that's, you know, that's pretty unbiased of me, because again, I don't really have an investment to this character. But yeah, you know, I can't really say much as in the lore and the background of this character. I'm not that invested, like I said just before. But face value, this looks amazing. What I found interesting is the base here, it's nice. And it's got the nameplate here. But did Gandalf have his name on the base? Or was it just that, like, rock base? Because that would be kind of interesting if Aragorn has a named base and then Gandalf doesn't. So it's like, are the rest of the Lord of the Ring lines going to have a named base? Or is this just a once-off? Hopefully, they at least fix the Gandalf one and put maybe a nameplate on it. Because then you're going to get like a lineup and it's going to be a name and then no names on some. It's going to be a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, you can't even say anything negative about this. Again, it's a great step in the collecting world. Oh, this is the sculpted hair. Okay. Yeah, even the sculpted hair looks really good. Although I will say, I don't know how this will go articulation-wise. Much like the Hot Toy figures with long hair. You might need to be a bit cautious with the head. But maybe that magnet is going to secure more safety, so the head's not going to pop off if you spin it or something. So you get another clothes option with without the trench coat. It looks like he's got an added cape. Oh, he's got blood on the hand too. That's really nice. It's a bit grainy, but yeah, even that blood work looks pretty good. Much better than the Hot Toys' recent blood work. Looking back at their old school Terminator figures, they had amazing blood work, and then you get something recently. What's a recent figure that has blood work? The Two-Face from The Dark Knight. Hot Toys kind of scaled down on the blood work on that, which is the reason I didn't pick it up. The original one had looked much more heavy blood effect, while they kind of dialed it down a bit. So it's nice that InArt, even though it's just a hand, it looks realistic and it looks all slimy and gross. But yeah, this is the sculpted hair, and again, I would not have a problem with this. This actually, only because the hair length similarity. Viper done a custom Brandon Lee Crow figure where he took commission for the Hot Toys head sculpt and he pulled the hair off. And he done long hair. Rooted hair. And because Viper's in InArt now, I really hope we do get a Brandon Lee Eric Draven from The Crow. Only because they can do it here, because they've given the long hair here with the rooted and sculpted. I would love for them to do a Crow. I think, you know, my Hot Toys one's a bit ran down and I'm currently trying to fix it. But an InArt one would be perfection, because they look like they really love the craft and they love the properties that they're doing. They're just not dishing it out for a license rights. But yeah, this looks just like a movie still. This is scary how good it looks. Like, I praised and still say to this day that the Jack Nicholson Joker is Hot Toys' best figure. as in accuracy and likeness and just everything you get, it's a 10 out of 10. This is scary how much it's elevated from what my opinion is of the DX8. This is a scary advancement. So I'll just quickly brush through the photos because, again, I'm not going to speak that much on it because I just don't have an advanced knowledge on the character that much. Again, I've watched Lord of the Rings maybe only a handful of times. I like it, but again, I'm not that hardcore fan. And I think for InArt specifically, I think if you're a hardcore fan of these characters, this is the collectible you want in comparison to other companies doing it. And I think that's basically their trademark. Basically, they want you to get the definitive version of this character, and their company is it. But again, for someone like me who's not the biggest fan, I'm not going to get it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I'm not going to deep dive into this. I'm pretty sure there's other actual Lord of the Ring fans that will, you know, really deep dive into the figure here. Again, for me, it's Batman and horror. And speaking on Batman, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker and Christian Bale's Batman were rostered on this year's list, so I'm really excited to see what they do with that. Also, Ben Affleck's Batman and, you know, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, and Cavill's Superman. I'm not going to get those guys, but again, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the suits, because I really liked the suits. It's just the movies didn't live up to what I wanted from them, basically. But yeah, overall, I'm really excited to see what they do with especially Joaquin and Bale's Batman. That would be really interesting. And going from that list, they're supposed to be scheduled this year, so that will be obviously up for pre-order pretty soon. I'm really excited for my Joker to come along as well. No word yet as if it's shipping overseas, because it has released in Hong Kong and China. No word if it's coming soon. Hopefully it is. And then after that, we've got Pennywise, and then Pattinson's Batman, which that's going to be interesting too, because that's going to be a massive collectible, because I got all three of the stuff. I got the 3-in-1 package, so that will be really interesting to see. But yeah, overall, I'm really excited for this. Again, stuff like this is making me think if I should even keep the stuff behind me and, you know, all around me, and just go and just get InArt and just strictly InArt. But again, you got to be selective, and as good as this is, at the end of the day, if you're a hardcore fan, which I'm not, I'm going to just have to pull the trigger and say, no, it's not for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure you like and sub, and I'll see you in the next one.